जामदग्न्योऽपि भगवान् रामकमललोचनः आगामिन्यन्तरे राजन् वर्तयिष्यति वै बृहत्। Jamadagnyah, the son of Jamadagni, Api, also Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Ramaha, Lord Parashurama, Kamalalochanaha, whose eyes are like lotus petals, Agamini, coming, Antare, in the Manvantara, the time of one Manu, Rajan, O King Parikshit, Vartayishyati, will propound. Why, indeed, Brihat, Vedic knowledge. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaicharna Aravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. My dear King Parikshit, in the next Manvantara, the lotus-eyed personality of Godhead, Lord Parashurama, the son of Jamadagni, will be a great propounder of Vedic knowledge. In other words, he will be one of the 7 sages. Can I repeat the translation? My dear King Parikshit, in the next Manvantara, the lotus-eyed personality of Godhead, Lord Parashurama, the son of Jamadagni, will be a great propounder of Vedic knowledge. In other words, he will be one of the 7 sages. I will read the next few texts as there is no purport for this verse. Text 26. Astedhyapi mahendradrau न्यस्तदण्ड प्रशान्तधीः उपकीयमाना charitaha siddha gandharva charanaihi. Lord Parashurama still lives as an intelligent Brahmana in the mountainous country known as Mahendra. Completely satisfied, having given up all the weapons of a Kshatriya, he is always worshipped, adored, and offered prayers for his exalted character and activities by such celestial beings as the Siddhas, Charanas, and Gandharvas. Text 27. Evam Brugushu Vishvatma Bhagavan Haririshvaraha Avatirya Param Bharam Bhuvohan Bahusho Nripan. In this way, the Supreme Soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord and the Supreme Controller, descended as an incarnation in the Bhrigu dynasty and released the universe from the burden of undesirable kings by killing them many times. Text 28. Gadher abun mahateja samsiddha iva pavakaha tapasa kshatram utsrijya yolebhe brahma varchasam. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Vishwamitra, the son of Maharaja Gadhi, was as powerful as the flames of fire. From the position of a Kshatriya, he achieved the position of a powerful Brahmana by undergoing penances and austerities. Purport. Now, having narrated the history of Lord Parashurama, Shukadeva Goswami begins the history of Vishwamitra. From the history of Parashurama, we can understand that although Parashurama belonged to the Brahminical group, he circumstantially had to work as a Kshatriya. Later, after finishing his work as a Kshatriya, he again became a Brahmana and returned to Mahendra Parvata. Similarly, we can see that although Vishwamitra was born in a Kshatriya family, by austerities and penances, he achieved the position of a Brahmana. These histories confirm the statements in Shastra that a Brahmana may become a Kshatriya may become a Brahmana or Vaishya, and a Vaishya may become a Brahmana by achieving the required qualities. One's status does not depend upon birth, as confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th Canto, 11th chapter, text 35, by Narada. यस्य यल्लक्षणं प्रोक्तं पुंसो वर्णाभिव्यञ्जकं यत् अन्यत्रापि दृश्येत तत्तेनैव विनिर्दिशेत्. If one shows the symptoms of being a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra, even if he has appeared in a different class, he should be accepted according to the symptoms of classification. To know who is a Brahmana and who is a Kshatriya, one must consider a man's quality and work. If all the unqualified Shudras become so-called Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, social order will be impossible to maintain. Thus, there will be discrepancies. Human society will turn into a society of animals, and the situation all over the world will be hellish. Thus ends the Bhaktinda purport and translations to Canto 9, Chapter 16, text 25 to 28 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namah Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here we see Shukadeva Goswami mentioning to Maharaja Parikshit about Lord Parashurama's position in the next Manvantara. So here he is saying, Jamadagnya Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, uh, who is named Rama or Parashurama, Kamala Lochanaha, lotus-eyed personality of Godhead, who is the Jamadagnya, the son of Jamadagni, Agama, Agamini, Antare, Rajan, O King Parikshit, Agamani, the upcoming Antare, in the upcoming Manvantara, Vartayishyati Vaibrihat, he will be a great propounder of Vedic knowledge. Vartayishyati Vaibrihat. Brihat refers to Vedic knowledge. Vartayishyati refers to propagation. That means, in other words, he will be elevated to become one of the Saptarishis. In the present Manvantara, Parashurama's father, Jamadagni, is among the Saptarishis. In our current Manvantara, Jamadagni is one of the Saptarishis. The other six are Kashyapa, Atri, Vasishta, Vishwamitra, Gautama, and Bharadvaja. So in the next Manvantara, Parashurama also will be one of the seven sages. In fact, in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami predicts similarly in all the upcoming Manvantaras who are the Saptarishis, who are the Devatas, who is the Indra. Here is also prediction by Shukadeva Goswami that Parashurama will be the next member of the Saptarishi group of sages, group of seven sages. So we will see here in the 8th canto. In the period of the 8th Manu, Shukadeva Goswami is predicting the Supreme Personality of God Vishnu appears as Sarvabhauma, the son of Devaguhya and Saraswati. So every Manvantara, who will be the incarnation of Vishnu and who will be their mother, father, is also being predicted by Shukadeva Goswami. Just like even in this Manvantara, in our present Yuga itself, Kali Yuga, if you take, Shukadeva Goswami has predicted the appearance of Kalki towards the end of Kali Yuga, and he will appear in a place called Shambhala Grama, which is in Bihar state today. And his father is Vishnu Yasha. It's in Kali Yuga. So as we can see in every, forget Kali Yuga, every Manvantara also Shukadeva Goswami is predicting. And the 8th Manu will be Savarni Manu. His sons are Nirmoka, headed by Nirmoka. And among the demigods are Sutapas. And Bali Maharaj, the present Bali, as we have heard in the Bhagavatam 8th canto, Bali Maharaj will be the next Indra in the next Manvantara. That is another prediction by Shukadeva Goswami. And Parashurama will be among the seven sages. So he is in the 8th canto, he repeats that statement. In the 9th Manu, the Manus Daksha Savarni and his sons are also listed, headed by Bhutaketu. And among the demigods are Maricha Garbhas. See, the list of demigods keep changing every Manvantara because it's a term, it's a post. So whichever living entity becomes qualified with the required pious credits to attain the status of a demigod will be posted to that state. So every Manvantara this change happens. So demigods are not eternal. Their positions are not eternal. They keep changing. Any living entity who acquires the required punya will replace the earlier demigods. He may even continue if his punya so demands and is qualified. But here we see every Manvantara, the demigods are different. It's not the same set of demigods. They keep changing. But Vishnu is eternal. His status is not a position. It is his constitutional position. Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is a constitutional position of Vishnu. The status of Supreme Personality of Godhead is a constitutional status. It is not an acquired status. That difference has to be noted. But any demigod or demigoddess is an acquired status based on one's qualification. Many criteria set for the qualification, for qualifying. So in the 9th Manu, the Indra is a post. Every Indra, Chandra, Surya, Ganesha, this is actually a post name. It's not a person name. That post name is occupied by one living entity. That's why we see here Indra, the present Indra in our Manvantara is his name is Purandara. So the next Indra is Bali Maharaj. Then the next Indra, ninth Manvantara is Adbhuta, is the Indra who will be occupying Indra's post. And the seven sages, among them is Dyutiman. So the incarnation of Rishabha is born of Ayushman and Ambudhara. Ambudhara. There's one more Rishabha going to take birth. Not that Rishabhadeva who appeared earlier. There's one more Rishabha. In the ninth Manu. During that time he will appear. So like this you can see how Shukadeva Goswami is predicted for all the 14, all the next 7 Manvantaras also. He describes all the past Manvantaras. That was before his period again. The past 6 Manvantaras are before Shukadeva Goswami. He predicts about them, who was all there. And the next 7 Manvantaras. Also, we see the list being predicted here. Why am I telling this? I'll shortly come to that. Next, we will also see Shukadeva Goswami predict about the different kings through all the periods in history, including the latest in Kali Yuga, which you can relate and appreciate. In the 12th canto, first chapter, Shukadeva Goswami predicts, gives the list of all the kings systematically one after the other, and their dynasty names, and all the sons, and among them who will become the ruler. To that degree he describes. And all of this he has heard from Vyasadeva. So, beginning from the 5th verse onwards, the prediction begins. The 12th canto, first chapter. The son of Kshetragya will be, of course, even few more verses than that before this. I'm just taking a list for us to appreciate, that's all. The son of Kshetragya, one of the kings, will be Vidisara, and his son will be Ajatashatru. Ajatashatru will have a son named Darbaka. His son will be Ajaya. Then text 6 onwards. Ajaya will father a second Nandivardhana, whose son will be Mahanandi. He goes on with the list. You see? Unbroken chain of kings he describes. Then he goes on to describe the 10 kings of Shishunaga dynasty and how much period they will rule. Some places here and there he will describe. This Shishunaga dynasty will rule the earth for a total of 360 years during the age of Kali. These were all the past kings he is describing. Kali Yuga, already they have appeared. This in Kali, if you Google search the kings in the beginning of the AD, actually you will get all these names. And then he goes on further. Then he also describes about the appearance of Chanakya Pandit, who was yet to come when Shukadeva Goswami was speaking to Maharaja Parikshit. And how the Mauryas will rule the world in Kali Yuga eventually. And how Chanakya Pandit will enthrone Chandragupta as the king of India. And Chandragupta will have a son by name Varisara. And his son will be Ashoka, who will be the next king. We also know that Ashoka became the king. And then the 10 Maurya kings will rule the earth for 137 years. So you can refer history books. It will be precise, it will be. And then up to the last king, when the monarchy ends, democracy began, that also he lists it. Who will be the last king in Kali Yuga? So why I'm saying this is, Shukadeva Goswami is actually a Trikalagya. That means one who can see the past, present and future. It's a kind of mystic power to predict the future or to know the past or to know what's going on across the universe or across the cosmic creation. In our newspapers, we observe, we go there, take a report, they're called reporters, right? And then we put it in the paper. But here are acharyas, they don't have to go to that place. Just like we saw in the previous chapters, Jamadagni could, by his yogic power, know what mistake his wife Renuka did when she came late for the sacrifice with a pot of water. We saw that in the earlier chapter. So he didn't say anything, she just stood there. Hmm? But then he realized that his wife had made a mistake in looking at one beautiful king, and that was uh, wrong on her part, being a supposed to be a chaste wife, so it was wrong on her part like that. So he could sense. That there are so many such examples out there. So these are all very, very great sages. They have such mystical powers. So prediction is one of the mystical power to predict future. They naturally have them. They don't have to work for possessing mystic power. Shukadeva Goswami and all, naturally they are blessed with such powers. All acharyas, all pure devotees have mystical powers. We will talk about that. Rishabhadeva makes an interesting statement. Lord Rishabhadeva, this was in Satyuga, who was the father of Bharat Maharaj, after whom our entire earth planet is named as Bharata Varsha. We tell him in Sankalpa also every day. This Bharat Varsha is actually referring to the son of Rishabhadeva, Maharaja Bharat. After him, this uh, earth is named as Bharat Varsha. Okay. So Rishabhadeva says that when the seed of fruitive activity is burnt off by the fire of transcendental knowledge, the spiritual properties of the soul becomes awakened. And one of the spiritual property of the soul is mystic power. It becomes fully manifest. It will fully bloom. The soul already has got mystic power because he is part and parcel of the supreme mystic Krishna. So we also have mystic power. So that will manifest automatically and naturally when the seed of fruitive activity is burnt off. So we can see how in many personalities, devotees of the Lord, these are naturally manifest without any separate endeavor. For example, if you take Rishabhadev, Lord Rishabhadev himself, uh, it is said that during Rishabhadev's time, Indra became very envious of Rishabhadeva because Rishabhadev was every day he was manifesting transcendental qualities, and his transcendental qualities is increasing and increasing and increasing divine qualities. So much so that Indra became envious, and to cut down the name and fame of Rishabhadev, who was ruling very nicely the kingdom, and people were so fond of Rishabhadev's ruling, he became envious. So Indra stopped sending rains to the earth planet. So Rishabhadev understood what's going on in Indra's mind. Indra didn't come and tell, I'm making this plan, I'm plotting like this. But the Lord could. Rishabhadev understood. And he smiled mildly at Indra. Okay, you're not sending rain, I will manage my own rain. And he sent forth rains by his own mystic power. Same way, Prithu Maharaj also, there's another example. Prithu Maharaj, he also, during his time, he also called for rains when it was not there. So these are all small exhibition of mystic powers. Elsewhere, Prabhupada says, Narad Muni, he is also a transcendental mystic. It's full of mystic powers. And he travels across the space at ease without using any vehicle, mechanical vehicle. At his will, he can appear anywhere. He can know what's going on in other people's mind. It's a kind of mystic power. Ambarish Maharaj, Prabhupada says, even Ambarish Maharaj's example is a very interesting example. Prabhupada says, actually, a devotee need not even endeavor for mystic power because he is devoted to the Lord of all mystic powers. So why will he bother to acquire mystic powers with great endeavor? He doesn't have to bother. One lecture Prabhupada said, if the father is very rich, then why should the son take the trouble of earning? All the riches will be supplied by the father. Similarly, the devotee of the Lord, because he is devoted to the Lord and his service exclusively, he doesn't bother about mystic power. And whatever is required, the Lord will supply him naturally as needed. He doesn't endeavor, doesn't bother, doesn't give any value to mystic powers. So, so in this regard, Ambarish Maharaj's reference is very relevant. Ambarish Maharaj, as we know, that Durvasa Muni unnecessarily became upset with Ambarish Maharaj for breaking his fast without offering the guest some prasadam after the Ekadashi Vrata on the Dwadashi day. So we all know that. So because of which Durvasa Muni became so much angry that he wanted to kill him. And Durvasa Muni used his mystic power, plucked out a bunch of hair from his head and produced a demon. This is another mystic power. So even demons can have mystic powers. So what great is there in a mystic power? Even when demons can acquire mystic power. What is the glory of mystic powers? Nothing glorious. Even demons can acquire mystic power. Of course, Durvasa Muni is not a demon, but uh, he's a proud Brahmana. But even demons also we see can do acquire mystic powers. We see in Ramayana and many other Puranas examples of demons acquiring mystic powers. Ravana had mystic powers. Indrajit had mystic powers. Kumbhakarna had mystic powers. They all have mystic powers. So devotee is not carried away by these mystic powers. So, so he produced a demon by plucking a bunch of hair, and the demon started attacking Ambarish Maharaj. So Ambarish Maharaj didn't do anything. He just prayed to the Supreme Lord, and he didn't even pray for protection. But the Lord Himself, knowing in advance that there'll be a future danger for my devotee, so in advance, Lord has placed Sudarshan Chakra in Ambarish Maharaj's palace. So Sudarshan was already stationed in Ambarish Maharaj's palace for the future protection of Ambarish Maharaj. So why should the devotee even bother to know that there is a future danger for me and I should safeguard myself, let me protect myself? Past, present, future, everything Krishna will take care. If we do Sarva Dharman Parityaja, we fully surrender ourselves to Krishna, life or death, whether I am living or I am dying, it is under my Lord's care and sweet will. He knows the best for me. The devotee is that much surrendered, then why will the Lord not take care? Imagine for the future danger, Lord Himself has taken a step. The devotee is simply busy in serving the Lord. He didn't make any arrangements and any attempts, Ambarish Maharaj. Yet the Lord made all the arrangements for his devotee. Same thing, Parikshit Maharaj. So why should the devotee worry acquiring mystic power? Parikshit Maharaj, when he was in his mother's womb, there was the attack of the Brahmastra. Actually, one of the purports Prabhupada says, Parikshit Maharaj's body was actually burnt off. But the Lord supplied another body within the womb. See, instantly Lord supplied another body even before his birth. And the Lord also was there to protect him. And he was going around Uttara's womb, guarding all around, patrolling. This is called patrolling. The Lord was patrolling in Uttara's womb to protect Parikshit Maharaj. And we also know in the case of Bali Maharaj also, the Lord has become a guard in the Sutala planet. The Lord of mystic power is becoming a guard of a devotee. So why will the devotee ever acquire mystic power and be after it? So, in the fourth canto of Bhagavatam, sixth chapter, text 38, and even in one lecture, Prabhupada says, uh, Lord Krishna is called Yogeshwara and Lord Shiva is called Yogishwara. So, Yogeshwara means one, no one can surpass the yogic perfection of Krishna. That is Yogeshwara. No one can surpass the yogic perfection of Krishna. And Lord Shiva is called Yogishwara. What does Yogishwara mean? It indicates no one can surpass the yoga practice of Lord Shiva. And in another lecture in Jakarta, Srila Prabhupada says, yoga is mystic power and Krishna is the master and controller of all mystic powers. Therefore, it's called Yogeshwara. And Shiva is called Yogeshwara because he is the best among all yogis. This is another way Prabhupada is putting. He is called Yogeshwara because he is the best among the yogis. In the Bhagavad Gita also we know Sanjaya concluding the Bhagavad Gita by declaring Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Pata Danudaraha Tatra Shri Vijaya Bhuti Dhruvaniti Matir Mama. So wherever Krishna and Arjuna are present, the Supreme Lord Krishna, the famous archer Arjuna is present, certainly there is all mystic power, extraordinary power, victory, morality. So all these things will be naturally present. So the Lord will supply to the devotees as needed. He doesn't have to endeavor. We should not get carried away by mystic powers. And as far as walking on water is concerned, these are all very, very insignificant. Showing any magical powers, very, very insignificant things. Devotees should not get carried away. Prabhupada says that in the Bhagavatam. Devotees who are sometimes misled aspire for liberation and mystic powers. So misled devotees aspire for mystic powers and liberation, not devotees who are properly situated. So those misled devotees, the Lord will give them mystic power, but He will withhold the most important function of devotional service. On the other hand, devotional service to the Lord is guaranteed to those who do not desire liberation and mystic power. So, aspiring for mystic power is actually material desire. And aspiring for mystic power is simply arising from the idea of manipulating matter, material nature. It's an exhibition of lording over tendency to exploit and control material nature for one's own purposes. So the feelings of power and pleasure gained by lording over matter are insignificant compared to the ecstasy one feels in the service of the Lord. In Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said, even the 8 kinds of mystic powers, perfections, are puny compared with the bliss of being an eternal servant of Krishna. This is what Krishnadas Goswami says. And to attain this status of being an eternal servant of Krishna, there's only one means. There is no other means. Krishnadas Goswami continues. It is surrender alone. Surrender to Krishna alone. Surrender is the only state to attain. Only way to means to attain this state. No artificial method can be applied. So although devotees may use mystic power in the Lord's service, but they are not after it or carried away by that. They only value devotional service, which is most pleasing to Krishna. You cannot impress Krishna by mystic powers, but you can impress Krishna by simple act of sincere devotional service. With all your mystic powers, you cannot impress Krishna. With all our knowledge, with all our opulences, skills, material capabilities, we cannot impress Krishna. But uh, with sincere devotion, we can actually impress the Lord. And that is more valuable as far as the living entity is concerned in his journey towards spiritual perfection. So not to get carried away by mystic power. So for that, we should know the value of devotional service. If Krishna is valuing devotional service and not mystic power, it's an obvious uh, conclusion. So devotional service is more important than mystic power. Nor Krishna advises anywhere to acquire mystic power. Rather, Krishna is advising to become his devotee. Man mana bhava mad bhakta. Krishna said, become my devotee. He never said, become a yogi. But he said, become my devotee. Because devotee is the best yogi. That's what he described in the 6th chapter of the Gita. Bhakti yogi, devotee of the Lord, is the best yogi. And in text 28, we see that Shukadeva Goswami now beginning the history of Vishwamitra, having discussed about Parashurama. He is now going to discuss about Vishwamitra, the son of Maharaja Gadi. How, although Vishwamitra was a Kshatriya, he achieved the position of a Brahmana by undergoing penance and austerity. So, in the purport, Prabhupada talks about Parashurama also along with Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra was a Kshatriya, but he became a Brahmana eventually. And Parashurama was a Brahmana, but he became a Kshatriya and again returned back to his original Brahminical status. As there was a need to bring in order in the world, Parashurama, although being a Brahmana, took up the work of a Kshatriya. But later, when his purpose was achieved, which is to establish Dharma by killing all the demonic Kshatriya kings who were irreligious and godless, Lord Parashurama, having thought his purpose is being achieved, he again returned back to his Brahminical work once again. So here we can see how the Lord is showing us non-attachment to the work. So so whatever is needed in the seva of the Lord, we should take up. Neither being attached nor detached, but attached to the purpose of Krishna, to the service of Krishna, to the order of Guru. Our attachment, there we should not show non-attachment and detachment. We should show attachment to the desire and order of Guru and Krishna. If the Lord wants, the Acharya wants, we show attachment at that point of time. And tomorrow, if the Lord reveals, or the Acharya reveals, or the authorities reveal another desire and plan, we should show attachment there once again. So we are not attached per se to anything, nor detached per se anything. It all depends on the principle of Krishna kindness. What is that? Whether Krishna is satisfied, whether Krishna wants this, Acharyas want this, or our authorities want this. So based on that criteria, we change our attachment position. So not per se, otherwise. So whichever service, it doesn't matter. Here we see the Lord himself actually is Brahmanya Deva. He is the master of all the Brahmanas. But he took up the work of a Kshatriya, which is socially inferior. But he didn't mind, because whatever is the necessity, you should do. Same thing, Prabhupada also we can see all through his life. Whatever was the need, he took it up. It is not that I'm a Vaishnava or I'm a Brahmana, then I cannot do the work for Kshatriya called administration or management. Sometimes we can see Brahmanas, they will not enter into management because it is actually inferior from their viewpoint. Because Kshatriya is in the next level, on second social level. Brahmana is in the first social order. But as far as the devotee is concerned, he is designationless, free from upadhi. Sarva upadhi vinirmuktam. Tat paratvena nirmalam. His consciousness is pure. Consciousness is pure. Purified by engagement in devotional service. Completely free from all upadhis of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra. Or even brahmachari, grahastha, etc. Only one upadhi, bona fide upadhi. I am eternal servant of Krishna. Jivere swarupaha Krishna re nityadas. So eternal upadhi, eternal upadhi of the soul, bona fide upadhi of the soul, which we can claim. So in that position of being an eternal servant of the Lord, whatever is needed, even a Shudra's work, Brahmana's work, Kshatriya's work, Vaishya's work, the devotee will enter into that. Like Prabhupada sometimes was criticized of being a businessman. He was being criticized of being a businessman because Prabhupada had started this agarbatti business, and he was also criticized for being a manager than a devotee. Oh, he is a good manager. But actually, uh, what those people don't understand is a devotee is transcendental. He has nothing to do with any material occupation in this world, material designation in this world, and he is free from all designations and fame and infamy, reputation and criticism. He is unaffected. His devotional service goes on. And Prabhupada showed it by example. So although he was criticized, he didn't care. He knows what he is doing on the order of his guru. Because his guru ordered him, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ordered, go and preach in the Western world and set up Krishna conscious centers across the world and make devotees. That requires management, that requires organization, that requires labor, that requires finance and manpower. So without this, you cannot run an organization. Prabhupada organized all of them on the order of his guru. So he was not disturbed and affected. He went on. So this is called designationless. Whatever is needed, he did it. But he is detached completely from everything material. So these are great examples by the acharyas in their lives. So Parashurama also took up the work of a Kshatriya, although apparently inferior, to serve his purpose of establishing Dharma. And again, he became a Brahmana. So devotees also should execute any kind of duty if it is for Krishna, without considering its superior and inferior nature materially. These are material considerations. Prabhupada also washed in the beginning days of ISKCON. He would personally cook and even wash the pots. And he would serve the hippies personally. We have a serving team, but Prabhupada would serve. And we have a cleaning team. Even our volunteers don't clean. Nothing, I'm just saying as an example. But Prabhupada would clean up the place and mop the place and wash their juta plates. This generally meant for Shudra. Prabhupada would clean the temple floor of the Lord. He was cleaning Rupa Goswami's Samadhi every day and acquired his spiritual strength and blessings. Thereby he was favored by Rupa Goswami. You see? So by rendering humble service to the Lord without any reservations, actually you can impress the Lord. But again, not with intention to impress the Lord, because I know the formula. These formulas don't work in bhakti. It has to be very genuine. If you know, oh, if I do humble service, Krishna is attracted, Guru will be attracted, let me do humble service, select humble services. That also will not work. Then again, you are putting a formula there and you are strategizing there. It will fail. It has to be genuine and bona fide. Then only it will work. Krishna cannot be misled. Krishna cannot be misled. It has to be genuine and with sincere purpose and intention in the service of the Guru, Vaishnavas, and Krishna. Then it will work. So, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai.